Show me.
I'm the martial arts film freak, and I watched Boy Kills World.
That's me, facing televised execution by breakfast cereal mascots. Not my happiest day. But let me take you back to an even worse one. The day the Vanderkoys killed my family and left me deaf and mute. So, I made a 3-step plan. Step 1. Give myself an inner voice. I took the last one I remembered from this video game. Player 1 wins. Step 2. Get stronger. A lot stronger. And step 3. Join a team.
Welcome to the Resistance.
Yeah, go team.
Boy Kills World is a 2023 film released somewhere in the world last year, but just released this weekend of 2024 here in the United States. The film was directed by Moritz Moore and stars Bill Skarsgård, Famke Janssen, Jessica Roth, Michelle Dockery, Brett Gelman, Isaiah Mustafa, Yayan Ruhian, love to see him. Cameron Cravetti, Nicholas Cravetti, I feel that they need to be mentioned there. Quinn Copeland, and I think the last two I should mention here are Sharlto Copley and the wonderful, the always very happy to see him, Andrew Koji. Oh, and of course, the voice of H. John Benjamin. The film is about a boy who grew up in this dystopian world run by this one woman played by Famke Janssen, whose name is Hilda Vanderkoy. And she is a tyrant. She kills people that she feels are a threat to her, so his family, of course, gone at her hand. He must now take revenge as he grew up trained in the martial arts and gunplay by Yayan Ruhian. It's revenge, because it doesn't matter if it's a Hollywood film, a French film, a Chinese film, a Japanese film, an Indonesian film, or whatever. Martial arts movies, about 99.9% of the time, are straight up about revenge. This has been one that I've been very excited about. The first scene I ever saw from this, really, I guess it was just a snippet I saw. I didn't even know about this movie until I saw the scene where Andrew Koji and the other guy, I think it's the Old Spice guy, are talking, and you find out, at least in this clip, that Bill Skarsgård is deaf and mute, and he is struggling to read one of the gentleman's lips. And it's a very, very funny scene with the narration by H. John Benjamin. I thought it was very fun, very cool. And then I start seeing other elements. I start seeing the fighting. I start seeing all this different martial arts. And of course, Yayan Ruhian. So I'm very, very excited for this film. But of course, I want to lower my expectations. Don't want to get too crazy. However, I got scared later on because I saw that a few critics were saying that the film just simply feels empty. But I didn't really think about that too much. Because empty, honestly, when it comes to the martial arts kung fu genre, we kind of get a lot of empty around here. Again, a lot of these movies are simply about revenge. So even if the story is quite empty, the action can always still hold it up. Like, I don't watch a lot of some of the best kung fu films ever made for the plot. Have you seen Dragon Lord? I don't even know the plot of Dragon Lord, but I know that final fight. It's one of my favorites. A final fight very similar to the final fight of this. Just saying. No spoilers, but similarities. And yes, while the story is quite flat, it is the characters that really hold this up. The villains, even though they're all mostly fairly quite one note, I do enjoy all of the performances. Sharlto Copley is always a delight, whether he is in Monkey Man just a few weeks ago, or in this, where he's sniveling and a bit pathetic. It's kind of fun. And of course, really, the number one person in this movie in terms of personality and charisma that is truly carrying like every scene they're in is Andrew Koji. And I'm not saying that as a fan of Warrior. I'm not saying that because I like Andrew Koji. He's the best part of Snake Eyes. Every scene Andrew Koji is in, he is owning it. He took Snake Eyes so seriously. It's like sometimes you watch a movie that's maybe a bit ridiculous, maybe not everyone's giving it 100%, but you have that one person who is like just completely in a different film. They are giving it their all. That was Andrew Koji in Snake Eyes. I loved his performance. That is Andrew Koji also here for me. H. John Benjamin, you would think he is going to be the highlight of the comedy for this film. I actually did not find that. I enjoyed some of his stuff, but eventually the shtick, it wore pretty thin. You know, he'd still say a few funny lines here and there, but of all the dialogue that H. John Benjamin has, it kind of grows pretty thin after a while. But everything Andrew Koji did in this film, he is so charismatic. Even though his character is probably kind of one note, he's just kind of intense and yells a lot. He has such charisma and he has such incredible delivery and timing that he is amazing at every scene he's in this movie.
Round 3. Fight.
Fuck you, Dave!
If I don't see an Andrew Koji-led film soon, I'll be very upset. And I don't mean an action movie. I mean anything. The guy is great. Sadly, though, when it comes to those story, technical elements of this film, that's probably where I would cut it off there. It's a good-looking film, you know, it's colorful, it's bright in sections. I enjoyed some of the character designs that a few people had. I really enjoyed, was it Jessica Roth? Is that her name? Yes, I really enjoyed Jessica Roth's character design. I thought she was really cool looking. It's kind of got like a Daft Punk kind of thing going for it. But really, it was that comedy that is it's really this movie's strength. The strongest aspect of this movie over everything, including the action, was the comedy. And that comedy was definitely carried, in my opinion, by Andrew Koji. But mentioning the action, let's get to it. I was hyped seeing everything I saw on the martial arts, the action, the grips, the graps, the punches, the kicks of this movie. I was hyped for a dope martial arts movie, but unfortunately, this movie sort of falls into your standard Hollywood fare in terms of the action, and by that I mean that it is not a martial arts movie, it is simply a pretty solid action movie with some martial arts. Other scenes have a bit more martial arts than others. The final fight is definitely just a straight up martial arts fight scene, and you know what? I appreciate it for that. But I could have used a bit more throughout the movie. This could all be personal opinion. I'm just not a big fan of the shooty shoot. I'm a big fan of the punch kick. I've been making a big deal in my head out of the wide angles, being able to see the action. Not a big fan of a lot of crazy editing, and there are movies that do the crazy editing quite well. Even some of the Raid films aren't always the most still camera. This movie made attempts at a more dynamic camera angles and movements following the action, going for that single take look, for at least longer takes that a lot of movies are going for nowadays, which is cool and fine. I did not love how it was pulled off here, and I don't know. I don't want to be a stickler for saying like, hey, just give me wide angles, it's all I need. But honestly, those were some of my favorite parts. At the end of the day, you like what you like. I saw somebody on TikTok, a fairly big, a big figure in the film talk community, the film section of TikTok, say that the film has this anime style filmmaking to it that gives it this anime flair, and I never got a hint of that once. And I'm not trying to take a shit on it. I'm not trying to say it was awful. However, whatever that guy was saying, I didn't feel that at all. Maybe he just doesn't watch the same type of movies I'm watching. I see a lot of movies go for that kind of thing. Hell, I just watched 1% Warrior. I feel like 1% Warrior had a little bit of the camera movements, but then again, it's also Tak Sakaguchi. He just wants to straight up capture. He wants to straight up capture himself. I didn't feel that. One aspect of the action that I feel a large amount of people are going to absolutely love is the gore. This movie is gory as hell. It was blowing my mind a little bit because I just spoke to Brahim Chab in my interview last week, and he talked about how Dev would calm him down sometimes and say, hey, that's maybe a bit too violent. This movie is 5 times more violent than anything that happened in Monkey Man. 5 times seems quite low. I could have maybe said 6, 8, 9, 10. 7? I skipped 7. But 5 sounds good. And not to be, again, a stickler, a stick in the mud, a Debbie Downer. I don't need violence like that. And that's not even true. I don't need violence. I don't feel that the movie it's weird to say the movie didn't earn that level of violence. It felt like the movie didn't quite supplement enough of anything else but violence for me, in my personal opinion. I'm okay with violence. I'm okay with the blood and the gore. I'm okay with seeing a knife get dragged down somebody's leg. This movie takes it a little bit further than something like The Raid, and it wants to really show you the skin ripping open. That was moments that I had to look away because I'm a bitch. But if you're going to be an action film, whether it be martial arts or gunplay, if you want to truly, in my opinion, hold my attention past the gore, because if at the end of the day all you are is an action movie full of gore but the action's not really well done, I don't particularly care. I think that gore can be done extremely well and be earned if it can supplement, on the other side of the gore, being the action that delivers the gore, the action that leads up to this gore. I don't know what I'm saying. What I think I'm trying to say is, look at something, for example, I'll say, if you're going for the gun section, if you're going for the shooty suits, Hard Boiled, The Killer, something in that John Woo spectrum. I don't think those are particularly the most gory films, but if we were going down that hospital hallway shootout, beautifully tracked shots, incredible gun scene. When I think of, if somebody asks me my best shootout scene, it might be that one. It's just fantastic. I would not mind if that scene that I don't remember being too gory just suddenly becomes this level of gore, some Expendables 2 level of gore. That's what I can think of. I know it was Expendables 1 or I think it was Expendables 1 that had like a lot of gore at the very beginning. It might have been the second one. I don't freaking remember. But if suddenly, like in Hard Boiled, they're turning down hallways as the camera's following along and they're just blasting people's heads off and brains are going all over the wall, I think it may have earned that because the rest of the scene is just so dynamic and incredible. Of course, my brain, when I think of gore, goes to The Night Comes For Us. That final fight scene between Rama, that's his character in The Raid, Iko Uwais and Joe Taslim is bloody. It's brutal. They are tearing each other open with whatever they can find in this warehouse. They are both gonna get tetanus. But their choreography is so incredible. Those two put together something special. And it's not even just the fight choreography, it's their performances. They have such an intense ferocity that is, it's weird to say it's beautiful to watch, but they're acting in that scene. It's wonderful. And at the same time, they're tearing each other apart. The white boy Bobby death in The Night Comes For Us, that whole massive scene of people getting hacked up and shot at and blood going everywhere. Still, I think that is a fantastic scene that earns that level of gore, especially for the storytelling of that moment. I love it. It's incredible. I don't feel that anything in Boy Kills World did that. I don't feel that anything in Boy Kills World, I hate to, I'm saying the same phrase over and over again, but there are just levels of gore that it feels like it's just gory to be gory. You're not doing anything else for me. You're not telling me a good story throughout the action. You're not giving me good acting performances that are making these characters have this incredible intensity that delivers, that deserves this level of gore, this level of violence. And of course, the choreography at a few times reaches that peak of like, okay, you earned that. It's just gore to be gore. And I don't really care for that. I'm not a gory person. I said this on TikTok a while back. I don't play Mortal Kombat. I play Tekken. I'm in it for the fights. I'm in it for the style. I'm in it for the martial arts. I'm in it for the freaking just beautiful movement. I'm really not a Mortal Kombat. I don't need fatalities in my life. Don't need it. Throw me a good 10-move combo in Tekken. Oh, glorious. Am I like a prude for violence? I feel like I'm like a prude for violence. Like it's like I like it. I like violence. I like, crazy shit, but you gotta earn it, baby. There are moments where I did quite enjoy the action, or I did quite enjoy the martial arts, the violence. And violence can be beautiful. I truly believe that. That final fight scene in The Night Comes For Us, the final fight scene in The Raid. I'm sure there are other violent, brutal scenes of movies that I can't think of. Hell, Avengement. Action, martial arts, film action. again, I will go back to Hard Boiled, can be downright balletic. Tell me, watch that final shootout in Hard Boiled and tell me that's not art. I just never reached that point with this movie. There were a few moments, there were a few things in the final fight scene that I was like, that's pretty solid. But I don't see myself probably coming back to Boy Kills World. I enjoyed many aspects of it. I enjoyed a lot of the performances. I enjoyed Andrew Koji, Andrew Koji was just an absolute delight in this movie. Don't go into this thinking Andrew Koji is going to have a bunch of fight scenes. He's not his character, and I'm totally cool with that. But he is probably the highlight of this entire film again. I say again, Snake Eyes. But nothing in this movie really sparked as much joy in terms of the action, the violence, the brutality that Andrew Koji's performance gave. I would still probably say that this movie is I don't know. Let's go with, I would probably give this movie 3 Dodobans. I believe that's what he said. Out of 5. I think one thing that should be mentioned also, Bill Skarsgård, physically he did great. He did great with the action. But he really had to do a lot of facial acting, and he does a very good job with that in this movie. I think at the end of the day, when I look back at those individual reviews I was seeing with the single word empty, it turned out that came true for me. I did not really feel anything in this movie. I did not feel any heart or soul in the action, the choreography, or anything, in my personal opinion. It was more than just the story that was empty. It turns out for me, the action, quite empty as well. It's entertaining. It's blood everywhere that I think a lot of people are really going to love that. It's just not my style. 3 Dodobans, 3 shamans, 3 tyrannical dictators out of 5. I think that's what I would give this. But tell me what you thought of Boy Kills World in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to Facebook. There's the Martial Arts Film Freak Facebook page. Instagram, Martial Arts Film Freak. Tristan_Glover on the Twitter. I know I'm doing things weirder this time. I normally have a desk in front of me, and I'll sometimes lean on it and stuff, but I'm just sitting up straight. I come with it. I'm higher up. You see more of the poster over here, and I'm holding my microphone, which is funny because I just have a dangling wire right here. I'm holding it. I don't know why. But do all those things. Did I say all the socials? I don't even remember if I did. TikTok, Martial Arts Film Freak, Tristan_Glover on the Twitter, all that stuff. Head over to the merch. I have merch. It's all down there. It's all there. So yes, tell me what you thought of this movie in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a good day.